Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 things I wish I knew before I bought a cat. Now, if you've subscribed to my channel or seen my previous video, which I will link somewhere when I figure out how to do linking, I bought a British short hair called Doji about a year and a half ago now, so a year and 4 months ago. So for my birthday, September 2021. And it's been a while, I've learned a lot. Me and Doji have been going through some interesting situations together. So I wanted to talk today about what I've learned through my experience of owning a cat and what I'd recommend people look into before they get down the same path. So the first thing I wish I learned is that not all cats are quiet. Doji is a cat that, he's very vocal, he loves to talk, he talks continuously, and by talking I mean screams. What did you say? Okay, and what did she say after that? No, she didn't. Really? Okay, Doji. He meows in the morning when he wakes up, meows when he wants food, meows when he wants to play, meows when he's bored, meows when he's tired, meows when I shut the door, meows when I go to the toilet, meows when I shower, meows when I'm cooking, meows when I haven't given enough attention, meows when I'm trying to sleep, meows at 5 AM when he wants to wake up. It's a continuous thing, and he's always talking. And initially it was meow, which I was kind of fine with, but he has different stages of vocalizing. So sometimes he'll scream when he's I guess maybe annoyed or stressed. So that can be if I've been away and I come back home. I think he has mild separation anxiety probably, but when I come back from work, he'll be screaming with excitement. And that's kind of him greeting me and saying hi, and that's more of a joyous greeting, which is nice. But then he does sometimes yowl, he's very dramatic when he doesn't seem to be getting his way. For example, if I shut the door to go to bed, or if I've locked him out of the living room because he's just causing too much trouble. He does this deep guttural vocal yowl that's as if he's being skinned alive, and it's crazy because he obviously is not, he's fine. So that's always interesting to deal with. So yeah, not all cats are quiet. Doji is a very loud cat, and I've met cats before. Loads of my friends have cats, or not loads, but a few of my friends have cats, and I've been around cats before. And they're typically quite quiet. They kind of unassuming. They come and say hi, and they kind of hide in the corner. Doji is an attention seeker. He will scream at people when he meets them, be in the room, want to be around them, jumping or run around and be silly, and he's always doing something. He never just sits still, and I guess as well he's still quite young, so that might be part of it. But yeah, cats are not all quiet. Number 2, cats can get fleas, and they do get fleas, and it's pretty bad. Doji got fleas within I think about 3 or 4 months of me getting him, and it was a whole ordeal because my flat was carpeted in the bedrooms, me and my housemate, so we both had to go to the vet, and he had to get injections which cost 70 or 80 quid, and then I had to get a follow-up shot 2-3 weeks later because he still had fleas. I had to buy loads of flea spray, which cost I think £25 a pop because it was a big one. I had to basically go through the house, take all the clothing materials off, so bed sheets, throws, duvets, blankets, whatever, carpets, wrap them away. I had to spray them diligently to kind of kill off all the fleas and potential flea eggs, and then do every corner of my living room, of my room and bedroom, covering the carpet, and then leave that to sit for a few hours, and then I had to go around and hoover everything. And I did that I think 2 or 3 times, and each time it took me 3 or 4 hours, so I was doing the whole flat, and I felt bad because my flatmate had allowed me to get this cat, and the cat then got fleas, and there were fleas everywhere, and he started to get bites and stuff, and it was super stressful. And Doji, the poor guy, bless him, was very itchy and very upset, so he had to get a cone so he wouldn't scratch himself, which he hated. And at one point I was told by the vet to leave him in the bathroom so he could not spread the fleas. Then he was screaming and really unhappy about it, so I ended up letting him out. And obviously I think that vet didn't give the best advice because he sounded pretty distressed. He was quite young as well, so I think it was a bad experience. And that took I think about 3 weeks to get rid of, so I kind of went to the vet, they gave him an injection or something, they gave him whatever, an oral thing to take that should be really strong. And they said to wash him after 4 or 5 days, so they were supposed to all drop off, and I did see some fleas dropping off. And then I washed him. No, so actually that's the wrong way around. I washed him initially when I noticed the fleas. Some had washed off, seemed okay, and then I used a flea shampoo you could buy from a pet store. After 4 or 5 days, he seemed to have more fleas back again. He was itching, so I took him to the vet. They gave him some stronger stuff. That seemed to work, and then he would kind of after 4 or 5 days, seemed to be flea free. I'd washed him, combed him out. I had the flea comb that was really good at getting them out. And then like a week or so later, he had them again and started itching. I checked and there were fleas jumping out. I could see, sometimes you see him itching and you open like part of his hair and then you see like a little thing scurry along, and that was just the most horrendous thing to see, because then like he's in the living room and he's on the sofa and he's in your bed sometimes, and so I was really like horrified about having fleas getting on my skin, because I've got long hair as well, so it was really stressful. But eventually the fleas went, I had to wash them again, combing through it, and then we just had to spray the house again for the 3rd time. So it took a long time, but cats can get fleas, it's not just dogs, and when they get them, it's pretty intense. Doji's also, he's a short hair, but he has quite thick hair, so there's lots of space for fleas to breed in. Number 3, cats are very loving. Contrary to popular belief, I always thought cats were just like solitary solo animals that did their own thing and weren't really necessarily the biggest on affection or like being around their owners and stuff, which is not the case at all. Cats are very, very affectionate, they love their humans, and Doji is basically like a lap dog for me. He follows me around everywhere, he's always on my lap, he always wants to be around me. We do a lot together, like if I'm cooking he'll be sat watching me. On the sofa he'll either be on my lap or sat next to me. When I go to sleep, he sleeps now next to me on a pillow on the side of my bed, because he won't sleep otherwise. If I shut the door he screams, and he likes routine, so he likes getting on the pillow next to me as I sleep, and he sleeps there for a few hours and he'll go off into the living room and then do whatever cats do at night, and then I'm up at 8 to feed him. But he's very affectionate. I actually was really surprised. He will like come and find me during the day when he wakes up from a nap and like meow the fact that I've not been with him, that I left in another room, and then jump on my lap and sit on my lap whilst I'm working, or will sit in front of me at my desk. Like he is constantly trying to be near me, and that I think is nice as someone who now lives alone. Having a cat that is like a dog that like wants to be around you and gives you affection. He's like, he does the biscuit thing where he like paws you and like kind of needs me and stuff, which is cute. But he's very, very affectionate, and that is really, I was surprised. So whilst he's not a normal cat in the regards of being quiet, he is a very loving and affectionate cat, which I know some of my friends' cats don't like being touched or even looked at. So yeah, cats will have different personalities and they can be loving. I think it depends on how you interact with them initially and how you raise them and how you treat them when they're young. When he was younger, I handed him a lot and cuddled him a lot and held him and stroked him, and so we built a kind of physical bond at an early stage. Obviously, if you don't want your cat to be like that and not be needy, he's quite needy, then you obviously don't do that physical interaction, you might not touch him as much or whatever. So it kind of, the cat grows into the home you raise it in, I think. So yeah. Number 4, cats, well, Doji at least, but cats can be very, very obsessed with food. Doji has a food problem. He often tries to break into things. He's broken into bags of rice, broken into oats, broken into God knows what. Wherever I leave on the counter, he'll try and rip into. He just tries to nibble at wherever he can. But he's not, it's different to dogs. He doesn't necessarily watch me eat as much. He might like be where I'm eating and like be watching from distance, but he's not like in my face trying to grab food, but he's very aware of food. When he's always hungry, so when his bowl is empty, and I'm lucky that I never raised him with a full bowl. Some people have cats where the bowl's always full and the cat can just go and eat when it wants, and then it's being topped up throughout the day. But Doji's a bit chubby right now, I don't want him to get too chubby, so I didn't do that. I've always been, I feed him, he eats all, then it's done, then he has to wait for the next feeding. But that did mean whenever he saw me, he associated me with food and would just scream. And so when he was younger, I stupidly would like, oh, he's screaming, he must be hungry, and feed him. But obviously now I know that he's kind of conditioned that to be with me. So what I did do was I bought automatic cat feeder, which I think was like 40 quid or so. And it's probably the best thing I've bought, because it just means that he doesn't associate me with food, and he has set feeding times, which I think is good for him as a cat, because cats really do like routine. So I have a timer set for 8 a.m, 12, and then 6 p.m. He has 3 meals, and they're kind of, it's a large portion in the morning and the evening, and then like a lighter one in the day. And that way he knows he'll know like 10 minutes before the time, and he'll go and sit and watch the feeder in the middle of the day, and then he waits for the food to come out, which is funny. But yeah, he's obsessive, and I recommend getting an automatic feeder. It meant I don't have to deal with the screaming, and he doesn't come to me for food. And just be careful with what you leave around the house, because sometimes Doji will sneak his way into the kitchen and get on the counter, even though he knows he's not supposed to, and nibble at like a bag of oats or porridge or granola or something. So be careful. And 5, which is probably the most important one, and not to end on negative, but it's just the honest truth of one thing I realised that I didn't understand, is that cats, Doji's an indoor cat, so he doesn't leave the house because A, he's expensive and I feel like people would steal him, but also secondly, I don't have a cat flap, so there's no way for him to get out and come back in. And I also wouldn't like the thought of him going walking and then getting hit by a car or something and being missing and then me not knowing if he's coming back. So he's indoors, and I do sometimes, and this will be a point I'll make at the end, but I do sometimes take him out for walks, which I'll talk about in a second. But cats do also get to a stage of puberty where they start marking territory, and with my dogs at least, they used to pee outside. I never really had, well, Max when he was younger my Yorkshire Terrier had issues with like peeing on corners of the like other room, but then that was slowly stamped out. Our large dog Simba's never weed in the house or pooed in the house ever. He always goes outside. But Doji as a cat, when he turned, I think I'd say probably like 6 or 7 months in, started pissing. Oh my god, started pissing everywhere. He was pissing on carpet, rugs, behind the sofa, in corners of the room. I would wash it out with soap, was what I was doing initially. Realised don't use soap because it contains chemicals that it contains ammonia, which can actually smell like urine to the cat and make them go back. Then I started using like a cider vinegar to wash it out, and then I started using bicarbonate as a combination. That worked, and then he would just go back and piss again. I literally wash and hoover for like half an hour, leave, go out for the day, come back, and then be like, and it would be pissy again. He did it at my old flat, did it at my new flat, carpet, and I think like when he was younger, it was puberty thing. I think he was marking his territory, so he had certain spots he went to. I had him neutered or spayed or whatever, and I think it's neutered. Yeah, he's a boy, and he stopped significantly. But this is basically 0.5 is just about cat piss generally. So they can mark territory. They also they really like things to be clean. So when he was younger, I only had 1 litter tray and it was fine. I clean it out like once every 2 days, and he was fine. He'd just go in there. When I moved to my new flat, maybe change of setting, he started pissing all over the place, and it was stressful because I didn't understand why. And I went to see a vet. The vet said it might be like anxiety-induced cystitis, where they develop cysts in their uterus as a result. Not uterus? No. In their bladder. Sorry, in their bladder as a result of stress. I think the mood stress amount, so he was pissing in different places as if he couldn't make it to the box. So I got some medication that helped. I also was told to get 2 litter trays, which now I've done, which helps because cats like to have, I think, variety in space and like to be able to. Basically, the rule is per cat 2 boxes. If you have 1 cat, 2 litter trays. If you have 2 cats, 4, for example, whatever, 2 to 3 they say. So I have 2 now, and that means he has more of a range of places to go to, and also means they get dirty slower, so I have more time to clean them out. But he did go through a phase of pissing in front of the litter box every day for like 2 weeks, and it was pissing me off because I would clean the litter box out, it would be fine. He would then go, and he would always poop in the box, but he would piss outside the box, like next to on the right of the box or in front of the box. So I had to buy this like enzyme solution that breaks down cat pee, and I had to scrub my carpet, but now my carpet's look a weird colour, so I'm going to have to redo the floors. But yes, cat piss, and it does stink. Cat piss stinks, it's horrible. So beware, like cats are pissy animals. I recommend getting your animal neuter spayed early on so they don't have to do the marking territory thing. And then just have 2 litter boxes so they kind of have 2 places to go to. And keep an eye out, because sometimes it's little bits you don't notice, and then actually over time the carpet becomes soiled and stinks. So be careful. But on a nice note, to help Doji get out of the anxiety and stress of being indoors and me leaving, I did start taking him on walks, and he loves going on walks. So I've started taking him out on a little leash that I have, and I take him out like, I don't know, every few weeks, maybe every month, whatever. But I take him out, and he does like it. Like I've seen a lot of videos where people say cats don't like being on leashes, they have bad reactions, they kind of like resist and try and get out. Doji doesn't have that problem. Luckily, he actually just once he gets down, he just starts walking around, and you'll see like from the clips, his tail's wagging, he's very inquisitive, sniffing and smelling and going under bushes and walking on paths and stuff. So I've only taken him to the little like communal garden area I have where I live, but I will try and eventually take him on a longer walk, maybe to a park or something, so he can run around. But my only concern is that he's quite bendy and can wiggle out of things, but he seems to really like it. So if you have an indoor cat and perhaps your cat seems a bit bored or wants to have something more stimulating to do, I'd recommend getting a cat lead and just trying to take them out. I started initially with treats in the house. I put it on the harness on him, and I give him treats to having the harness on, and then put the lead on, and then give him treats for walking with the lead. And then eventually, when we went outside, I didn't need to use the treats. But that's one way you can actually get your cat to go outside and have fun. So I'd recommend seeing if your cat likes to go on walks. I didn't expect it for Doji, but he does, and go I'll go crazy. But yeah, guys, that's it. Those are my 5 things I wish I knew before getting a cat. A bit random, a bit weird, and quite funny as well. I wanted to just keep it kind of spectacular because Doji is not a normal cat. Those are my 5 things I wish I knew before getting a cat. But I would still definitely recommend getting one, and definitely recommend a British short hair. I think he's great. He's so attractive as well. Not attracted to my cat, but he's such a good looking cat. I love the grey fur. People always always comment that that's something that's quite outstanding or spectacular about him, or stunning about him, whatever the word is, that makes him stand out and is differentiating from other cats. So if you're looking for a cool cat, I recommend a British short hair, very friendly, very playful, and also the chubby little cheeks. He just looks like a little emperor just laying down with his little rolls rolling around. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you do like these cat videos and you want to learn more about Mr Doji or cats generally, or my experience with Doji, or a combination of all 3, let me know what you'd like to see or what you'd like to hear, or any tips about British short hair specifically, or about moving cats or having an indoor cat. I'm happy to make them, because it seems when I make cat videos on here and on TikTok, they're the ones that do the best. So I'm now Mr Ario, the cat man. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a good week, and I'll see you on next week's video. Goodbye.